This offseason has already been crazy, between Paolo shooting up to number 1, the Minnesota Timberwolves giving up one of the craziest trade packages we've ever seen for a guy that can get matched up off the court in the playoffs, to the Hawks finally making a big move, trading for DeJounte Murray. But this offseason isn't over. In fact, between the free agents still available and the looming blockbuster trades, it might just be getting started. If you guys like the content, smash the like button, smash the sub button, and let's get into this. Let's kick things off with free agency. It's very rare you have free agents like we do right now still available this far into the offseason. I think the biggest name by a mile is Colin Sexton. Now this is a very interesting case. I need to preface by saying I've never been a big believer in Colin Sexton. He doesn't have the size to be playing anything but the point, the defense is questionable, he's a true score-first shooting guard stuck in a 6-foot body. Now, my main criticisms revolved around his fit with the Cavaliers and what I thought he would go for in free agency, but based on what we've seen recently, I guess I was wrong about how the league perceived him. The fact that he's gone this far into the offseason with his only offer coming from the Cavaliers at reportedly around $40 million over 3 years is super surprising. I think his future is brightest as an elite 6-man. I think this is the right value for him, but I was shocked to see the Cavs agreed. Now, apparently, he's waiting till he gets to that $20 million a year mark, and honestly, based on the contracts we've seen handed out over the past few seasons, I think he'll probably get there. Now, yes, he's coming off an injury. That's slightly concerning, but this is still a guy that a year ago was averaging 24 points, shooting 48% from the field, and 38% from 3. Now, it's hard to say where he's going to play next season, but I think it's becoming increasingly more likely it's not going to be with the Cavaliers. If it is, it'll most likely be on the qualifying offer in a prove-it year, and he'll hit free agency next summer. But what are some teams he could go to this offseason? I think there's definitely some interesting ones on paper. The Mavericks really jump out to me, as with the departure of Jalen Brunson, I think they're going to be in desperate need of a shot creator that's not named Luka Doncic. I also think if he's bought into that 6-man role, teams like the Nuggets and Heat are really interesting, but those destinations are going to be tough to pull off. The teams that are actually getting the most buzz right now are pretty surprising. That's the Washington Wizards and Utah Jazz. I guess the Wizards make a little sense, trying to salvage the Bradley Beal era, but for the Jazz, assuming Mitchell has moved at some point, which we'll get to, my guess would be that they're just trying to turn him into a trade piece. Regardless, having a guy like Colin Sexton on the market at this point in the year opens the door for a pretty nice shakeup in the outlook of certain teams going into next season. His presence won't take a team from competing for a playoff spot to a contender. That's pretty obvious, but I do think he could be an X factor for a team we already know is one of the contenders of the league. Today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a super easy to use ticketing app that's goal is to make buying tickets super simple. I personally use SeatGeek anytime I'm buying tickets, whether that's baseball, basketball, football. But it's not just sports. They also have tickets for things like concerts and festivals. You always know you're getting a good deal as they score all the tickets. Green is good, red is bad. One of my favorite features is that they actually show you the view from your seat before you buy it. I just used SeatGeek recently to go to a Yankees game, and it was a super simple process, especially with being able to have the tickets right on my phone. Definitely going to be catching more games this year using SeatGeek. If you guys want to try it out, they've got a pretty awesome promotion going on if you use code JIMMER when you make an account. They're going to hook you up with $20 off tickets. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code JIMMER. With how good the deals are on there, trust me, it can go a long way. Make sure you click the link in the description and download the app. Thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring today's video. Another pretty notable free agent that's still out there is Dennis Schroeder, and honestly, he might be getting slept on. Yes, the past couple years haven't been great. I think it's become pretty clear he's not a starting point guard caliber player right now. The Lakers really dodged a bullet with him declining that $84 million extension. But I do think he has the chance to be one of the better backup point guards in the league. The last time we saw him coming off the bench full time, he nearly took home 6-man of the year, averaging 19 and 4 on amazing efficiency. It's hard to say why he hasn't landed a new contract. This isn't a situation like Colin Sexton where it's going to come down to the money. I think it's going to be pretty similar to his last contract with the Celtics, where he signed a 1-year sub $6 million deal. There's some rumors he might be a locker room problem, but it's tough to say how much validity we can give to those rumors. Now, where will he land? I think the interesting landing spots are practically identical to Colin Sexton, but if I had to bet on it, I have a feeling he's going to end up as a Los Angeles Laker. He already posted on Instagram referencing LeBron James saying run it back ? I really think the Lakers are waiting on some of these situations we're going to get to in a second before making a signing like Schroeder. Now, these are far from the only interesting free agents still out there. You've got aging stars like Carmelo Anthony and LaMarcus Aldridge. You have Montrezl Harrell, who's dealt with some legal issues recently, which might be hindering his contract options. DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, Hassan Whiteside, all guys that have been at the top of the game at some point in their career are still out there. Again, it's not some free agency pool that I think is going to drastically change the NBA power rankings overnight, but I do really think it is one of the best ones we've seen in August. Now, what's really crazy when it comes to the rest of the offseason, and this really shouldn't be a shocker, is trades. I predicted it well before the offseason started. It seems it's always the years where supposedly we have this super weak free agency class that things end up just going crazy, and clearly this year is no different. DeJounte Murray's been traded. Rudy Gobert has been traded, but those might not even be in the top 3 of the biggest trades we're going to see this summer when everything is said and done. I think the biggest name, based on recent developments, that's practically a guarantee to be traded is Kevin Durant. Now, for the last couple weeks, I actually thought Kevin Durant wasn't going to be traded, and that was mainly due to the Rudy Gobert trade. If Rudy Gobert's price tag on a $40 million contract is 5 first-rounders, what in the hell is the price for one of the best players to ever touch a basketball with 4 years left on his contract? Yes, he's 33 years old, but let's not act like he isn't coming off a season averaging 30 points on 52-38 splits. Where was this energy when Miami gave a 35-year-old Kyle Lowry $100 million? Kevin Durant is still one of the best players in basketball, and I have a strong feeling that's not going to change over the course of this contract. Based on that Rudy Gobert trade, I'm not sure there's a team in the league that could put together a big enough package. Because of this, I really thought the Nets were going to have a hard time hearing an offer they actually liked, leading to him sticking around for a season or two, especially knowing they still have Kyrie for at least one more season and are yet to see how much of an impact Ben Simmons could really make. But things have changed. Kevin Durant met with Nets ownership this past week, reiterating his trade request and giving them an ultimatum: him or Sean Marks and Steve Nash. It didn't take long for the Nets to publicly come out with their support for the GM and coach, basically guaranteeing us at this point Kevin Durant is out the door and the relationship is unrepairable. Now, I think it's pretty clear why this is the most interesting situation in the league right now. There's very few players that can make a team a contender almost regardless of their supporting cast. Kevin Durant is one of those players. Also, based on what the trade will have to involve, you would assume it's almost a certainty he's going to be traded to a team towards the top of the league. Now, early on, we had a clear group of favorites. At the top was the Miami Heat and Phoenix Suns. Things have changed since then, though. The Phoenix Suns have taken a big hit in odds, according to Las Vegas. There's now a clear top 3. That's Toronto, Miami's still up there, and Boston. The Heat sit at the top, and this one makes a lot of sense. They're a team ready to compete. They were one of Kevin Durant's preferred destinations, and they have top-end young talent to give up. Now, the tricky part with this one, and we brought this up before, is Bam Adebayo. It seems that this trade would almost have to involve him, but due to his preferred rookie max extension, he can't be on the same roster of Ben Simmons, who's also on that preferred rookie max extension. That means for this trade to go down, it would probably have to involve a third team that's interested in Ben Simmons. It would be a complex trade, but I'm not gonna lie, probably the most interesting. I really can't think of a better wingmate to Durant than Jimmy Butler. Sitting in second is going to be the Boston Celtics. Things have been heating up about the possibility of a Jaylen Brown-headed package going to Brooklyn for Durant. This one is controversial, and honestly, I understand both sides. The Celtics were just in the NBA Finals. It's fair to assume they're going to see even more development from their young talent, and they just brought in someone who projects to be a 6th Man of the Year contender in Malcolm Brogdon. You might have a dynasty in the making, why mess that up? But on the other hand, Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. I understand the arguments for the future, but there's no question Kevin Durant would make them a better team tomorrow. Him and Jason Tatum would truly be one of the best wing duos we've ever seen. Everyone's also acting like Jaylen Brown is locked up on some 5-year deal. That's not the case. He has just 1 more year left on his contract, and while the assumption is he's probably not going anywhere, we know this league is unpredictable. When you have the chance to pair up 2 top 10 players in the league for 4 seasons without depleting your supporting cast, which I can guarantee you they wouldn't be, I think you try to do it. The last team is the Toronto Raptors, another team that's been gaining a lot of steam recently, and it makes sense. They've been able to put together a solid group, but lack that top-end talent to really take that next jump. I think the possibility is definitely interesting, but I struggle to see a package that's going to work with both sides, especially with reports that the Raptors are reluctant to involve Scottie Barnes in trade talks. Other teams like the Grizzlies and Suns are still in the mix, but these are definitely the clear favorites as things stand right now. I just want this trade to go through so we can finally have a good picture of the league landscape going into next season. Then you've got the other huge names circling around in trade rumors, and that's Donovan Mitchell. You would think a Mitchell trade would have gone down by now, but again, that Gobert trade set a standard. It's an undeniable fact that Mitchell has more trade value than Gobert, but there are very few teams in the league capable or willing to give up a comparable, let alone better package. Now, I still think a Mitchell trade is extremely likely in the near future, and I really mean that. Vegas has already set the line on a certain team being his next home at minus 325. That team is the New York Knicks. The only other teams in the conversation are the Miami Heat and staying in Utah, both of which are still at heavy plus money. I think we can assume as of right now that Mitchell is gonna be a Knick, but what is the package gonna look like? The reported package that's been on the table but hasn't been fully agreed upon yet is Evan Fournier, Obi Toppin, Quinn Grimes, and a ton of picks. If that's the deal, I think it's a huge W for the Knicks. Going forward with Brunson, Mitchell, Randall, RJ, and Robinson would be super fun. Now, I don't think it's a group that has a chance to compete with the top teams in the league, barring some crazy jump out of RJ, but if there's one thing we know about Knicks fans, they will get excited about anything. I've never seen a fan base so excited in my life to play in the first round of the playoffs. Now, the big question with this trade is, will it involve RJ Barrett? Would the Knicks be willing to let him go? Would the Jazz want to pay him? Without him being involved, do the Jazz think they're getting enough back? If I had to guess, that is probably what the holdup is right now. If too much time goes by, especially if that Durant domino falls first, I think we'll probably see a lot more teams get involved. Now, I don't think the trades are going to stop at these two. In fact, I think these trades are just going to cause a chain reaction of trades. Once Mitchell is gone, I think Conley's out the door soon after, my guess being the Dallas Mavericks. Once Kevin Durant is gone, Kyrie's probably gone. While logically, I struggle to see how it will happen, I still have a gut feeling he's going to end up a Laker. But that's the end video, guys. There's still a lot more trades I want to talk about, as well as some pretty crazy looming contract situations. We're going to save that for another video. With all that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and peace.